Well, Michael Brown, Dr. Michael Brown, the head of Caltech and NASA, said that he's searching far and wide for what? The Planet X. The ninth planet. The dwarf. Whatever you want to call this thing, the brown dwarf, the goblin. They got a lot of names for it. Well, he said it's interacting with a lot of the planets in our solar system, and it's fucking everything up there, and they are in dire need to try to find this thing. Where is the mysterious planet hell? I know where it is. It's in the goddamn Orion. It's coming from the Orion, dipshit. That's where it's coming from. That's where it is. It's coming from the Orion. And just like the Bible said it would come from, wormwood comes from the Orion. That's where it is. They're looking in the wrong place. I don't know. I see Nibiru all the time, and it's like right next to the sun. Remember when Paul Cox? That was awesome, dude. He had a show. It was about 2 years ago, and he's doing the transit of Mercury, and he's looking at the sun. He sees this little dot right by the sun. He goes, "There's Mercury." And I bet you guys all are wondering what this huge thing is, just to the top and right of the sun. Well, that's our second sun. Yeah. NASA and all the other employees out there usually hide that stuff away from us and don't tell us the truth, and they usually keep that a secret, but there you go, it's true. So that's what he said on his show. Remember the transit of Mercury? If you haven't seen it, check out Paul Cox Two Sons. It'll blow your mind. The transit of Mercury, dude. Try it out. It's awesome, dude. You want to see Nibiru from a telescope? Check it out. Paul Cox Two Sons. It'll blow your mind. So anyway, Caltech is trying to figure out where this thing is and what to do. This is why NASA held this fucking drill last week, trying to shoot down one little minor fucking asteroid on a simulation, and they failed. It took them 8 years to finally get the simulation up and going, and they failed, and the asteroid in the game hit New York City and took out how many? 8 city blocks. So are they worried about Apophis in 29, October the 13th, 29? That's now is going to be 19,000 miles from the surface of our Earth. 19,000 miles, that's it? This thing's the size of 4 football fields? Damn. Somehow I'm feeling it's going to make a whole nother Gulf of Mexico somewhere in the world, huh? Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll hit water. And just create a big tsunami and maybe only kill a couple hundred people. So maybe we'll get lucky. But this is what the United States government is working on right now. They're working on asteroid defense right now for asteroid Apophis. And Caltech and everybody else is doing their damnedest right now to try to locate the brown dwarf. Dude, they know exactly where the brown dwarf is. Russia knows. NASA knows. Don't believe all this shit that Mike Brown is telling Paul Bagley on the internet. Don't believe it. He knows exactly where it is. He just doesn't want to tell you. NASA knows right where Nibiru is. My uncle that doesn't do any research himself, that works with rockets, that works for NASA, that knows people that research Nibiru, and he said, "Oh yeah, we've been watching Nibiru since '82. We know all about Nibiru." You know what I mean? They call it the goblin. That's what he called it. And I'm like, yeah, well, I just know it as the brown dwarf, whatever you want to call this thing. And I'm like, well, it could be wormwood. He goes, I hope it ain't wormwood. He's like, I've read my Bible. And I was like, I hope it ain't wormwood. And I'm just like, well, it could be wormwood. Or it could just be the planet of the crossing, like I named my channel. Do I think it's just going to cross our path and fuck up Earth? Yeah. Do I think it's going to wipe out all Earth? Absolutely not. Will it kill a lot of the world? Oh, yeah. Anybody that lives on the coastlines is already dead before they even heard this transmission. You're already dead. Japan's gone. England's gone. South Korea's gone. North Korea's gone. Half of Australia's gone. Half of South America's gone. Half of North America's gone. 3/4 of Europe is gone. What's one of the safest countries in Europe? Over there in that area? China. That's why they built all these fake cities. In the highest points of China, that's where all the real rich people want to go when Nibiru comes our way. People that don't want to go underneath the ground, they just want to live in a high rise and pretend like, oh, well, the only thing that lives in these cities right now, and they have malls in them, is the local fucking wildlife, like deer and squirrels. It's the only thing that lives in these fucking facilities, dude. It's just like these huge cities that China built and constructed a few years back, and nothing lives there, just the local wildlife. So that's where a lot of the top elites want to go once the shit really hits the fan. That's where they're headed. So, hey, I live in North Dakota. I live in a good, safe state. I'm not too worried about it. Like I told the cops last night, dude, I live in a good, safe state. And they're like, yeah, I'm glad I live here too. But they're just like, Jesus, though, that sucks. He's like, I got family members that live on the coast. And I'm like, yeah, well, not for much longer, you don't. So he was kind of bummed out about that. I kind of told him that, yeah, he's probably going to lose some relatives. I got relatives that live right on the coast, too. I'm not going to tell them about Nibiru because I don't want them to scare. I'm just going to let them die a regular death. So I might make a phone call and warn them. You know what I mean? When I'm leaving to go to the farm, I might make a phone call to my my relatives, but most relatives, you know, the one that works for NASA said, I'm going to get the fuck out of here before that happens. But he's also said, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go. If that's God's will, it's God's will. It's just like with me. If I'm going to go today, I'm going to go today. You know what I mean? If Putin was lying to Trump and they side with Iran and Iran attacks today and we have an Avangard missile come raining down to Minot and blows me sky high, well, then guess what it is? It was meant to be. I don't think it's going to happen like that, but if it is, it's God's will. And that's just the way it is. So we're going to find out more about Planet X and stuff like that. I thought he was going to say a lot more, like I know exactly where it is in the universe. It's in the Orion! That's right, it's in the Orion. And it's coming in like a freight train, baby! So we're going to find out, but as of right now, they're just working on Asteroid Apophis, so they don't have a fucking clue what to do about Nibiru, but as of right now, all eyes are on Apophis, so, and Iran. Hopefully, Putin will stay out of this today, and we'll just take Salami out and be done with it. All right, I love you all.